All right, now to give those magic words, here is Senator Phil Hoffman.
Gentlemen, start your engines! With that command, the field of 40 Midwestern-based ARCA cars roared along. For the 13th time since 1980, the Toledo, Ohio-based ARCA stars are set to compete here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. And at this high-speed V-shaped oval weren't challenging enough. Today, they face the task of overcoming one driver who has dominated their season to date. But who is this Grand Rapids, Michigan man of steel? He's 29 years old, a two-time ARCA Series champion. 1 week from today, he hopes to be in the starting field at the Brickyard 400. Someday, he hopes he'll win the Brickyard 400. His final tune-up for Indy comes here, now, 200 miles at Michigan. About the same distance from here to Indy, but in racing terms, it's really light years away. In recent years, you can sum up the ARCA Series in 2 words: Tim Steele. He has dominated. He has 7 race wins this season and is currently 5 points ahead in the race for the championship. Today, he starts 3rd, and he's number 1 at this track last month and in this race last year. He's 6th on the all-time win list with 25 victories and 1st in Super Speedway wins with 15. Today, car number 16 goes for Super Speedway win, number 16.
The driver Bill's talking about is really the home state favorite here at Michigan Speedway. Tim Steele, the crowd loves him, but there are 39 other drivers in the field today that think they can beat him. How about Frank Kimmel? He won at Charleston Speedway on the dirt just a few weeks ago. Mark Thompson in the 66, he won at Charlotte. In the last 4 races, Blaze Alexander has had top 5 finishes. All of these drivers in the field think they can do it. How about Jimmy Kitchens, Bobby Gerhardt? There are a lot of people in this field that know that if they have a really good day here at MIS, they can beat Tim Steele. Now, one driver that you might not be familiar with, folks, is Gary Layton. He's from North Carolina, and today is only his 3rd start in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series. But he's won at Charlotte, and he had a pole at Charlotte. But that track is very, very different than Michigan. We'll see how he goes today from the pole.
Blaze Alexander is 21, talented, and trying for his first career ARCA win. He was 3rd last week at Pocono, but in his 3 races prior to Pocono, he had 3 straight second-place finishes. He struggled to start the season, but in the second half, he's caught fire. So the looming question is, can Mr. Alexander blaze his way to a win?
7 top 10 finishes for Mark Thompson really has him on a roll, and he's 3rd in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series points. He's had the last 3 consecutive poles here at Michigan before today's race, but he hasn't won yet. He'd like to today.
The ARCA Series for years has looked for the teams and the talent that can bring promise and added excitement to this series. Tim Steele has been the story. More money, more experience. But today, with one of their strongest fields ever, ARCA hopes to showcase strength, speed, and balance. Can anyone in this field beat Tim Steele? Only if he's derailed by bad luck or perhaps human error. But those are the cruel intangibles of racing. And if one of them gets Tim Steele today, it's a new opportunity for a new face. ESPN, the worldwide leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today live from the beautifully manicured 2-mile Michigan Speedway, it's the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series MediaOne 200. After 13 of the 22 events on the $3 million ARCA Tour, there is a virtual tie atop the standings. Take a look as Tim Steele and Frank Kimmel are tied with Mark Thompson, Bob Strait, and Mark Gibson rounding out the top 5. There. Now, head-to-head competition with our co-leaders. We'll take a look there. Yeah, Tim Steele has won 7 times to Kimmel's 1, but look at the last category, DNFs. 3 for Tim Steele. He did not finish 3 of the first 6 events of the 1997 season. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with 2-time ARCA Series champion Benny Parsons. And Benny, it's tough enough to beat Tim Steele at his home track here. He's won 2 in a row, but Frank Kimmel has already won 1 of the battles this weekend. He out-qualified him.
he out-qualified him, but he lost an engine on Friday. They had to search last night. An engine came up from Indiana. He's got an uphill struggle today to beat Steele.
All right, 40 cars will start. We'll take a look at the starting grid. Our Suzuki starting lineup. There is Hutter and Gerhardt in row 3 as you see the cars come fielding by. 40 cars will start. A new track record for the young man, making only his 3rd start here. And Gary Layton on the pole. Back in row 5, you see Blaney and Barrier. 200 miles, 100 laps. Mark Gibson who finished 2nd here back in June. Back in row 8, McCune and Martin. Watch for Martin to be a factor today. Curtis and Morgan. Back in row 10, Shepard and Harrell. Zach and Counselor back in row 11. Field of 40 cars getting ready to start as they come out of turn 4 for the wave of the green flag.
As you watch the rest of the starting field, the green flag is out. Gary Layton goes down in turn 1. On the outside is the 46 car Frank Kimmel. And they're still trying to go between them. It looks like Frank Kimmel is going to lead this first lap. At least he goes in turn 3 in front. But here comes Steele on the inside. The 16, Tim Steele, Frank Kimmel, 46. Frank Kimmel leading the first lap. So it looks like the engine they found last night down in Indiana is a pretty good one, Jerry.
Indeed, what a weekend it has been for Frank Kimmel. As you documented, Benny, 3 different engines, and they finally had to borrow an engine from Bill Whittemore. And now he leads the first lap here in Michigan.
That's Audemars Chevrolet, HNS9 Ford. Third car is Gary Layton. You're familiar with this young man. He's out of Albemarle, North Carolina. And here comes Steele on the inside, trying to take the lead. He will be close. He will lead this lap.
All right, there's the man from Grand Rapids, Michigan. You heard Bill Weber talking about the top of the show. Kimmel not wanting to give way, but now Steele pulls him by 2 car lengths, making 3 car lengths as they head for turn 2.
Right on board with Frank Kimmel. Figure out right now, what can I do to be in this position just a couple of laps ago? We hear him back off the accelerator and turn. Back on the gas.
Field flashing by at speeds of over 179 miles an hour. The new track record, 181.5 in qualifying here yesterday.
That's Jimmy Kitchens, a white 47. Trying to go on the outside to 1 car is Matt Hutter.
The son of Rod Hutter, driving for James Finch here. His first ever start in Michigan.
Bobby Gerhardt, the 85, the white car. And Dave Blaney, the World of Outlaws, the red and white number 80. Back to the lead. Tim Steele and Gary Layton. Looks like he's getting his feet wet. Trying to come back. What, 1,400 laps? Is that what they said on Super Speedway?
Remarkable. He's the all-time lap leader on Super Speedways in the ARCA competition. Talking about the car number 16 of Tim Steele, our leader. He has led 225 laps and 7 starts here at Michigan. So the all-time leader here at Michigan Speedway.
He just about missed that corner coming off turn 2. It doesn't look like Steele's car is perfect right now. If he came off turn 2 that last lap, just about missed the corner.
Here comes Blaze Alexander, who's had 3 second-place finishes in the last 5 ARCA events. Still looking for that first win. He is the reigning Rookie of the Year. Back in the car number 26, the left side of your screen. That's the black and yellow numeral Sunoco-sponsored machine for Blaze Alexander.
Dave Blaney goes all the way to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get back Gerhardt, the 85 car. Not able to do that.
Back up front here in the early laps at Michigan Speedway, the field tightening up. It is Ford, then Chevrolet, and Chevrolet in the top 3 spots as Tim Steele being shown as our leader, followed by Kimmel, Layton, Thompson, and Hutter in the top 5. Back with more in a moment. two-boat coverage of the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series MediaOne 200 from Michigan Speedway is being brought to you by MediaOne. This is how your home will be connected to the future. MediaOne. This is broadband. This is the way. By Valvoline Durablend, the #1 selling semi-synthetic motor oil. And by Suzuki. Your Suzuki motorcycle and ATV dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Under caution for the first time this afternoon here at Michigan Speedway, the car number 03 having come to a rest. That is Tommy Nichols out of Tampa, Florida, the Lang Engineering Ford. And Benny, he did have some contact with the wall.
Looks like he's made some pretty serious contact with the right front. This was Tommy's very first super speedway race. They've been running some open wheel cars. A lot of experience in open wheel cars. And there we see our pole sitter. We're looking at 74. Gary Layton. Bill Weber, what's up with him?
Well, Benny, right now, he's having a perfect ride, and he's doing exactly what they want to do. He's never been here before. He needs experience. Well, he's getting it under green flag racing, and there probably aren't two better guys to follow around here, the 16 and the 46. So look for Layton to stay behind those guys and learn the track, learn his line, learn how fast he can go, and he doesn't plan on following the last 2 laps. But for now, he's happy where he's at, BP.
And he's got that great crew chief, a guy I used to work with back in the 1979, 1980, David Ift, helping Gary Layton up this weekend.
And BP, he's sitting down here on the wall. I just congratulated him on winning the pole, and I said, how good are you? And he says, if I was any better, there'd have to be 2 of me. They're extremely thrilled with their qualifying run, and they think they've got a good shot here today.
All right, as we watch the 03 being hooked up and hauled away, that's Tommy Nichols, and as you heard, his first ever super speedway start. What a special memory he'll have of the early laps here at Michigan Speedway. Back with more in a moment. Back in Michigan Speedway, the early laps here under caution due to an incident up in turns 3 and 4 involving a rookie driver, Tommy Nichols, out of Tampa, Florida. Nichols having some contact with the concrete. There's Frank Kimmel, the Advanced Auto Parts Chevrolet. You heard Benny Parsons talking about the struggle he's already had this weekend just getting an engine in the car to run the race. Let's check it in the pits.
Well, Doc, you're right. It was a struggle. They had to go clear down to Seymour, Indiana to borrow that engine from Dill Whittemore. Dill and Frank have been friends for years and raced together for a long, long time. Now, I talked to Larry Clement before the race, and he said that engine's actually down about 30 to 35 horsepower over the one they hope to use. But I just asked Dan Faldorf, sitting on top of the pit box, how it was. He said they're going to be okay.
All right, Frank Kimmel, already a winner this year in ARCA competition. And his win came on at Parkersburg, West Virginia on the dirt.
We saw the light go off the top of the safety car. That means we'll be going back green next time by. And you know, Jerry, Tommy Nichols crashed up in turn 3, and we talked about him being a rookie, and that was his second or third lap. That's about the spot I hit the wall the first time I came to Michigan International Speedway.
Something you'll never forget. Speaking of a big weekend of racing, ESPN2's kart qualifying coming your way tonight, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Bob Barshett, Danny Sullivan, Jan Beekes, and Gary Gerald. And tomorrow on the grid, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, as we set the stage for an exciting weekend of PPG Kart World Series action. And yes, tomorrow on ABC Sports, 1 o'clock Eastern time, the US 500. Jimmy Vasser, the 1996 PPG Cup champion, is the defending champion of that event, having won the inaugural race a year ago. Our flag-to-flag coverage coming up on ABC at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
There we see the cars, all the cars, single file. That will be the restart. Tim Steele, Frank Kimmel, Gary Layton, Mark Thompson, a winner this year at Charlotte, is 4th. Matt Hutter, Jimmy Kitchens, Dave Blaney, Bobby Gearhart, Blaze Alexander, Bob Strait in Jack Bowser's car, Mark Gibson, Ed Barrier, Steve Swick, we see him in 13th. He's made a pit stop. It's fallen back to the end of the line.
There's Tim Steele, 7 wins in 1997 in the 13 events thus far in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series. Twice in a row he's won here at Michigan, but he didn't have it so easy back in June last month. He didn't take the lead until lap 86 of 100, led the final 15 laps. In fact, it was Mark Thompson who dominated that race, the car number 66, the black car. Right side of your screen as we get set for a restart here at Michigan.
Green flag. And Tim Steele gets a great start on Frank Kimmel. And there we see Ed Berry, the inside. Number 90 down to the inside. Looks like he's closed up on the back of Bob Strait. Back to the leaders again. And there's Dave Blaney diving down to the inside once again, trying to make the pass. And he will make the pass on Jimmy Kitchens.
Blaney's 5th start in ARCA for 1997. He's the 1995 World of Outlaws national champion.
Might have spoke too soon. Kitchens is coming back on the outside.
Blaney in the car number 80, driving for Stan Hoover.
And about a per second spot as Gary Layton tries to go on the inside of Frank Kimmel. He does, takes over that second spot.
Got to be impressed, Benny, with Gary Layton. The guy's only run 3 races coming off the short tracks at Concord Speedway down in North Carolina. He sits on the pole at Charlotte. He wins at Charlotte, finishes second there after sitting on the outside front row. And as a pole sitter here and in the early laps, has held on to a second place.
And the caution flag is waving once again. I don't see the trouble around the racetrack, but anyway, ARC officials. And there we see the 76 car, Brian Kahns. Looks like might have lost an engine. See some smoke coming in the back of that car.
That apparently is the problem, Benny. We are told that the ARCA officials will put out the caution flag at these speeds of 180 miles an hour. Better safe than sorry, as that will bring caution out for the second time today here in the early laps of the MediaOne 200.
I like that. You see some nice sponsors on these ARCA cars. Shooters, Bar and Grill, and Downriver Diesel. Downriver, the area south of Detroit, towards Toledo, between Detroit and Toledo.
Well, while we're under caution, we're going to take this break and be able to come back and reset the field as we get set for more racing action. 12 of 100 laps are complete from Michigan. We'll be right back. Back in Michigan Speedway under caution for the second time today here due to an incident, actually a possible blown engine on the car number 76 of Brian Kahns out of Livonia, Michigan.
There's Steve Swick's car, riding along board with him. He came in earlier, topped off with fuel. So now he can go the rest of the way on one more stop. Might be some well-planned strategy down the road.
You know, he lost his primary car in the first morning practice yesterday. Has borrowed a backup car from Bobby Gerhardt and thus had to go to the back of the field anyway. But this MediaOne car, Swick's first ever start in a stock car and first super speedway start here at Michigan.
You wonder if we've now run 14 laps and all these cars, if they pit now, can make it on one more stop. You wonder if some of these guys that are wondering about making it over 100 miles, Bill Weber, are they going to pit or what do you think? Oh, here comes Steele.
Yep, and this is planned. This is part of a strategy. You'll remember the race here about 6 weeks ago came down to a fuel stop situation, and Steele almost got hosed in that situation. So they're not taking any chances today. You can't reach halfway unless you're very lucky. You'd like to do this on one stop, but unless everything falls your way, that will not happen. So Steele is going to come in now, get his fuel. This is a normal pit stop. They know he has the strength and speed to get back to the front, but just have to hope he has some racing luck. A similar incident last week in the Winston Cup race at Pocono crippled Dale Earnhardt's chances of winning that race. Right now for Steele, it's fuel and 4 tires. The rights are on. We've got Cummings and company going to bolt on the left side. Steele sits. He's got all the fuel they can get in. And he's heading out of pit road. 19 seconds on the pit stop, and he's at the tail end of the field. He will be something to watch coming through, you guys.
What Bill's referring to last week at Dale Earnhardt, Larry McReynolds had perfect fuel strategy. Had Earnhardt pit, but he was back in heavy traffic, and an incident right in front of Earnhardt collected him and cost him a fender and cost him a shot at winning. That's exactly what's going to happen with Tim Steele. He is back in heavy traffic, needs to be very, very careful working his way through the field.
Are you predicting a crash here?
No, I'm not predicting
That's what you said.
I said, but he's back in heavy traffic. Not that there's going to be a crash.
You said that's exactly what's going to happen to Tim Steele.
All right, maybe I didn't predict a crash.
This guy is Weber. This guy is looking into crystal balls up here. But you're right. I mean, he does stand an awfully good chance. It's a struggle this early in the race, fighting through all that traffic.
All right, some others have been on and off pit road, right, Ray Dunlap?
Well, you're absolutely right, Jerry. We're talking about pit strategy now, and this is a very different strategy for Tim Steele to come in this early. I just talked to Mark Thompson's crew. They said they're looking to pit around lap 47, and Matt Hutter, they said they don't know. They're going to go with the flow. All those cars up front, but now they're in a lot better position because Tim Steele's way at the back.
All All right, they come down for the green flag. Glad to have you with us, Benny Parsons, Bill Weber, Ray Dunlap, and yours truly, Jerry Push, bringing you live ARCA action from the beautiful Michigan Speedway.
Wow, look at Ed Barrier, that dark car, the black car on the outside. Ed Barrier on the restart must have passed 5 or 6 cars. The only question is, will the ARC officials allow Ed to do that as Gary Layton leads Frank Kimmel off turn 2? And there we see Barrier on the outside of Matt Hutter.
There's Kimmel, the experienced driver, looking from his roof cam. The Advanced Auto Parts Chevrolet, looking at the Tampico Chevrolet. Rookie Gary Layton in front of them. Then comes Thompson back in third.
Is it 4 abreast? Whoa!
4 wide here in the tri-oval. Can they make it? And Blaze and Dave Blaze says, hey guys, it may work in sprint cars, but not at 180 miles an hour in a stock car. I'm backing out of it here, in a wise move indeed by Blaney.
And that 21 car on the inside was Bob Strait that made it 4 abreast. There we see Tim Steele trying to push his way back through the traffic.
Benny, he is in 17th position. He was back in 38 after the pit stop, and now in about a lap and a quarter, he has cut half of them away. He's 17th, making 16th spot.
There's no hurry. There's Rick Shepard right in front of him, the blue car. Well, Rich Boone in 86, and a battle for second spot, and Mark Thompson goes in the second. Thompson in the fourth.
Mark Thompson's only ARCA win came earlier this year at Charlotte. There's Frank Kimmel. 11 top 10 finishes. Mr. Consistency. That's why he is tied atop the point standings. Now, what about the guy that he's tied with, Tim Steele? Well, last time by, he was in 16th spot, and he continues to make a move.
Well, there's Josh Balson, 18. It looks a lot like Steele. There he is, the 16. As he closes up on the back of Mike Giacchetti, the 17.
Back-to-back wins here at Michigan Speedway for the Grand Rapids native Tim Steele, the defending and 2-time ARCA Series champion. Plans to go Winston Cup racing next week at the Brickyard. They tested there twice, a couple of weeks ago for 3 days, and then a month ago they hope to be able to take a Ford Thunderbird with Ernie Elliott engine power up there and get in the field next Thursday.
That might be something that will hurt him today. All the time that they spent getting ready for the Brickyard 400, that's one thing the competitors today might have an advantage on Tim Steele. He might have been thinking about next week and not this week.
He's also thinking about next year, too. They're thinking about possibly getting a sponsorship. They have a handshake deal. They're going to make an announcement, but a lot of distractions for Tim Steele.
Matt Hutter tries to take over that 4th spot. That's Hutter in the red and white car. The black number 90 is Ed Barrier, and there's Mark Gibson in 59, the blue and white car.
Mark Gibson, the former Rookie of the Year, finished second here back last month at Michigan. There's Ed Barrier, started 9th, currently 5th. He's had 2 second-place runs here in 1997 in ARCA competition. He will also be in attendance, driving for Earl and Czech Sadler next week in the Brickyard 400.
Check on Tim Steele again as we watch the first 10 cars or so go through the frame, and there we see Steele, the first red car, and it looks like Rich Woodland is following pretty good. It's Josh Balson, the red 18.
Steele having gone by the car number 11, Glenn Morgan.
That was Morgan instead of Woodland that was behind Tim Steele.
Well, Benny, how long do you think it'll take him?
He's not in any hurry, Jerry. He is driving very, very smart right now. He is not in any hurry. He's taking his time, and there we see Barrier going by, taking over that 3rd spot. I'm sorry, 4th spot. That is a battle. There's 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Gary Layton is our leader. Mark Thompson in 2nd. Frank Kimmel, the 46th. The left side of your screen is 3rd. The 1 car is 4th. And here's the battle for 5th between the car number 90 and the car 59. Barrier in the 90 and Gibson in the 59.
Oh, blown engine. And that engine that Frank Kimmel drove up here last night has gone away up between 3 and 4. And Dale Whittemore, you're
and that is our co-leader in the point standing. So caution for the third time, and boy, that is huge with regard to the fact that Kimmel has been able to stay atop the points based on consistency and good finishes, and now he probably, unless that's a hose or something that came off and that engine is gone, he will take a tumble in the standings after today.
And then we see the 16 car, Tim Steele, go by Frank Kimmel as he was coasting down through the corner. And he will be very fortunate to coast back to the pit area.
Well, Kimmel will try to bring that car back to Jeff Lemons, the crew chief. The Advanced Auto Parts Chevrolet, owned by Larry Clement and Dan Faldorf. And boy, what a weekend for Frank Kimmel.
Oh, it's been terrible.
3 engines. And now he makes it just 23 laps into the MediaOne 200. There's a look at Frank Kimmel as he's slowing down, the former Rookie of the Year, 1992 Rookie of the Year, 5 career wins. He's never won on a super speedway, hoping that would change today, but it has gone away with this engine here on lap 23. We are under the third caution flag today here in the early laps of the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series MediaOne 200. We'll be right back. Back in Michigan, good timing. Third caution flag today, and all the leaders head for pit road and Bill Weber.
And Gary Layton is here. The pole sitter pitches the race leader as the #1 stall on pit road. Pitting can sometimes be a problem for these ARCA guys, but this David Iflef-led crew has a lot of pit stop experience. 2 of his sons are on this crew. They have right side tires on. ARCA allows 3 guns, but these guys are so used to using push pit stops, they only have 2 out there. A long pit stop plays Alexander is already away. The right sides are on. They couldn't get the jack under the left side. This is going to be very, very costly. They thought they were going to have a good stop and this would help them, but obviously a very long stop. Losing valuable track position. Most of the field is already left. There he gets a push and returns to the track. A lengthy pit stop to the 74th.
Admitting that's the last thing an inexperienced driver wants to see have happen on a super speedway is to be mired back in heavy traffic.
One of David If's boys was the jack man, and I tell you what, with these racing jacks, you could tell he was really struggling to get the car off the ground. You've got to be about my size to be a good jack man. I couldn't be a good jack man because I'm not agile enough. But you really got to be a big guy to get on the handle that jack and get the car off the ground. We could see he was really struggling to try to get the car up.
And this guy here, Mark Thompson, opted not to pit here in the Midway Phoenix Air Ford Thunderbird, our 3-time pole sitter. Mark Thompson, who sat on the pole here last month.
And that guy behind him, Jimmy Kitchens, now you would have thought in June he ran out of gas. Remember that? Now, you would have thought Jimmy would have learned his lesson and came straight in the pits. But no, he stayed out.
And look at this guy right here. Speaking of track position, look at Tim Steele in the car number 16.
He's up to 5th spot right now, right behind Kenny Martin. Right now, it's Mark Thompson, Jimmy Kitchens, Kevin Counselor is the 3rd place car, and Kenny Martin is 4th. Tim Steele is 5th.
All right, we've got racing action coming your way here today and tomorrow. We've also got Sunday Night Baseball's Game of the Week coming up Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We go to Comiskey Park in Chicago. Yeah, it's the Rangers taking on the White Sox. Texas Rangers, led by Ivan Rodriguez and Juan Gonzalez. White Sox, Frank Thomas and Albert Bell. Getting set for a restart here at Michigan Speedway ARCA competition. 3rd caution flag today. Everyone on pit road that had not pitted with the exception of Mark Thompson, Jimmy Kitchens, and Kevin Counselor. And as we get set for the restart here, we'll take a quick break. And Mark Thompson is showing the way after Frank Kimmel, our co-point leader, headed to the garage area. We'll talk to him in just a moment. Back in Michigan Speedway, getting set for a restart. 45-year-old Mark Thompson stayed out. Now, these guys are discussing their pit stop. That's David If on the left.
And that's his son on the right. And they're talking about the bad pit stop and what they can do wrong the next time they go. Bill Weber?
Well, Benny, we talked about how they were confident about their pit stop and their ability, and they had everything figured out except, and you can see David working on this with his son now, the step where you have to slide the jack underneath the car. They never checked the space, and basically the problem was the jack simply would not fit under the car. Normally, you'll always slide the jack under that car to make sure it will fit, because there's a special place where you have to slide that jack to raise the car. They never checked that, and that was their problem. A very disappointing stop. Ray?
Well, Bill, Mark Thompson stayed out on the racetrack. We're talking about pit stop strategies here. He feels that if they stay out till lap 47 or maybe even to 50, depending on when the cautions fly, he can come in and have fresher tires than Tim Steele. Now, the big question is, will Steele come back in again?
All right, Hank Wetzel waving the green flag. As Tim Steele looks down to the inside, will make a move by the car number 95 of Counselor. And now we'll go after second spot, but falls back in behind Jimmy Kitchens.
And look what a run that Jimmy Kitchens has coming off that corner. Drives up on the inside of Thompson, and Steele is going to go 3 abreast. Steele on the inside.
3 wide down the backstretch. Kitchens in the middle, Steele on the bottom, and now Steele will take the lead from 4th to 1st in about 2/3 of a lap, and now Kitchens will take second spot. Comes Kevin Counselor by. His first ever Super Speedway start, first ever ARCA start in Counselor. Get a little bit of racy out there.
Man, oh man, Kevin. His name is spelled C-A-V-I-N. They all tell me it's pronounced like Kevin, K-E-V-I-N. Oh, and he loses an engine. It's overheating. Oh, and he gets in the water and around he goes.
And Counselor goes into the wall backwards. And the car number 95, the painting contractor from Naples, Florida, will bring out the caution for the 4th time today. And a host of cars behind him have spun. Heavy contact. There's a fire on the racetrack.
It's water or oil on the racetrack. Some fluid came out of the car and doused it on the racetrack, and all these cars got in the fluid and spun. There's no traction. Look, there's Bob Straight's car. There's Rick Shepard.
Drew White's car number 98. There is the heavy damage for Dave Blaney's car number 80.
Wow.
The back of that car sheared away. You can see they have ruptured that. There's the pole sitter.
Just think what a bad pit stop has now cost Gary Layton, because he back there, he gets in the fluid, into the wall, and his day is ruined.
We were talking about being back in heavy traffic. If something happened, you're a sitting duck, and that's exactly what happened. There's Drew White's Pontiac, car number 98, coming down, trying to make its way back to pit road. The Colony Racing Machine safety crews there to put some of the flames out from the oil and fuel that came out of the back of a couple of these cars. Heavy, heavy impact. There's the 21 car. Bob Strait having climbed out of Jack Bowser's Ford Thunderbird, and
Blaney's car is ruined. That car is hurt.
That car owned by Stan Hoover. Let's show you again what happened here just a moment ago in turn 1.
First of all, the black car, black and green car on the outside, he's going to lose fluid in the corner. There we see the fluid start coming out. And he's going to spin in the fluid. He's going to get on the right rear tire. He's going to spin. You see Mark Thompson able to go by. Dan Pardis goes by. Now, behind this, it's all breaking loose.
Now watch from the roof camera of our pole sitter, Gary Layton.
He comes off turn 4. He goes down the start-finish line. Up, and he catches Blaney as he goes by, and that just runs him right into the wall.
And Dave Blaney has climbed out of the car. There is Blaney kneeling at that hard impact, the 1995 World of Outlaws champion, and Blaney currently 3rd in the Outlaws points.
Wow.
Behind Sammy Swindell and Steve Kinzer. And what a ride. He took the front of Stan Hoover's car, completely destroyed. There's Rick Shepard's new Oldsmobile with the hood up.
See, that's exactly what we were talking about that happened to Dale Earnhardt last week at Pocono. The same thing could have happened to Steele. See, you predicted this crash, Jerry, but fortunately for Steele, he was in front of the crash when it happened.
And just a few laps ago, he was in 25th, so if he hadn't made that hustle to the front, he'd have been back there.
And all those cars made the pit stops. They got behind. Gary Layton had a bad pit stop, got him back there. We see Dave Blaney walking across the racetrack. A tremendous amount of debris on the look at all the debris.
Oh, like my heavens. Man. Well, anyway, the co-points leader, Frank Kimmel, has already called it a day, and he's standing by with Ray.
Well, Doc, there's a lot of trouble out there on the racetrack, but this guy's got his own trouble, man. We talk about it. You try to beat Tim Steele every week, and this week you come out and almost beat yourself.
Well, I really did. We had engine problems all week, but I tell you what, the advanced auto parts Byron showed me, man, it was good today. And we've been good all week. We just had a little motor problems, and we've had great luck all year, so it's bound to happen sooner or later.
The next two races are on the mile dirt, and you just won the dirt race. That get you psyched up?
Well, I tell you, I really enjoy the dirt race, and I didn't like it at first, but it's coming around, and we've got a good car there, good setup, so I think we'll go there and be competitive, and maybe we'll beat that 16 a little more often.
Well, guys, he was tied for the point lead, but big trouble today.
Only his second DNF in the 1997 season. There's the debris that you were talking about, Mitty, and most of that debris probably came from this car or what's left of this car right here.
But did you see all those cars a moment ago following the pace car through that debris? So, I mean, the question is now, how many of these tires are going to have a flat when we restart this race, because they're driving through all that metal and debris in the corner? It doesn't take much to puncture these tires.
Now, we showed you some guys who didn't make it through, but how about one guy who did? This is the in-car roof camera from the 05 of Steve Swift.
Once again, he comes off turn 4. Start-finish line. The crash is happening. We see the smoke up in the corner. Steve backs off on the brakes hard. Look at the water that's coming, hitting his windshield from the cars that's crashing up there. He goes down through the grass. Now, where do I go now, he says. Okay, put it in gear. I'll go between these two guys. Good job, Steve. Car is, you see Gary Layton is still sitting there up against the wall.
And Bill Weber is caught up with, I think, with David Ip. Bill?
And David's still able to smile, but you just turned to me and said that's racing, and that's the tough part of it.
Yeah, look, we shouldn't have been back there to start with. The pit stop killed us. We come in leading, come out 15th or something. We had a bad pit stop. The jack wouldn't go under the left side. It's just one of them things that somebody blowed a motor in front of us, and everybody got up in the melee. So what can you do? We had a good car. They knew we were here.
You were very optimistic. You won the pole, and you were running strong, and you were following some pretty good guys around to learn the line.
Yeah, this was the first time he was there. He'd done a super job. We were just riding, to be truthful, and then he said he could go harder, and I said, go on and go, and he passed, went to second, and then, you know, I think we had something for him, but that's all hindsight.
Has he told you anything since the crash?
He's all right. The car's tore all up, but he's all right.
Okay, better luck next time.
Yeah, thank you.
That's David F.
Fat, dumb, and happy right there.
All right, Mark Thompson was right behind this, and watch for the water on his windshield or his roof camera.
Yeah, it is water. If it were oil, we'd not be able to see through it. So that was water that he lost. He was able to go by. But he put that water down, all that water on the racetrack, and those cars didn't have a prayer.
Well, Mark Thompson dodges a bullet in the form of Kevin Counselor's spinning car, and we have caution for the 4th time today. Back with more in a moment. Back at Michigan Speedway, working caution number 4, which involved almost a dozen race cars. Almost a third of the field involved in a horrendous crash over in turns 1 and 2. That's how they're running right now. The field summary: Tim Steele, by virtue of that early pit stop and a charge back at the top of the field. Jimmy Kitchens, who stayed out, did not pit. Mark Thompson also didn't pit on that first round. They are in 2nd and 3rd. Danny Pardis and Kenny Martin rounding out the top 5. We'll show you again what happened.
The 95 car, the black and green car, Kevin Counselor goes in the corner, and he's going to lose a water hose, it looks like. The hose comes off, he gets his right rear in the fluid, and he's going to spin. He doesn't know there's really a problem, but behind him is where all the melee breaks loose, because he's put fluid on the racetrack. And when they go down in the corner, they get into it. And we have, as you said, Jerry, about 10 cars involved, including, this is Gary Layton right along with him. This is their pole sitter. And we'll listen as he accelerates down the front stretch. Start-finish line. And there we see the water coming up. And he hits the 80 car. As the 80 car is spinning, Layton hits the 80 car and then into the fence.
Benny, I want to ask you, that first replay, you saw Mark Thompson, the 66 car here. He was right behind the counselor car when it began to spin, and we saw that roof camera shot. You know that Thompson couldn't see anything but smoke, but he hit it right for the smoke. Is that what an experienced driver will do on a super speedway?
The experienced driver does not abruptly back off the accelerator. He just eases off the gas. He doesn't slam on the brakes. He doesn't turn the steering wheel. He just continues driving on. Here's what Jerry's talking about. This is Mark Thompson. He goes down the corner, and Counselor is going to lose the hose, and see how he goes over the windshield? And he just backs off the gas. He just keeps driving, and he's under the 95 car. He knows that the 95 car is going to go up the racetrack. He knows he's going to spin and go up the racetrack. Steve Swick, now he had a problem because when he gets there, there's about 10 cars crashed. He's got to try to weed his way through the crash, but luckily his spotter told him to back off early enough that he's able to do that. He's going slow, and he's able to do it. There we see all the smoke. The crash is going on. He stops, tries to stop, gets slowed down. Now there's a lot of room. He gets slowed down, and now he's able to just weed his way through the grass wherever he has to go to avoid the crash.
And here in Michigan, with a 73-foot wide turn and a 10-foot apron, a lot of room to get around. Let's check into the pits.
With Bob Bissinger as the crew chief for Mark Thompson, what did he tell you about getting through that mess?
Well, he said it really oiled the track down bad, and his windshield's covered, but we're going to play the mileage game right now. He thinks we're good to go. Car's real comfortable. One stop, we're going to see if we can't pull it out.
So you think you can get past halfway now, or at least to halfway?
Yes, we can go halfway.
And you'd like to see some green flag racing your car much better on longer runs?
Yeah, long runs are to our key. That's what we need.
Okay, good luck.
Thanks.
And I'll tell you one more thing about this team is last week at Pocono, they missed the setup big time and had a very disappointing day. They're really looking to prove something here at Michigan this afternoon.
Hey, Bill, they need some green flag racing, but they first of all need to get to about they need caution flags to get them to about lap 55, and then they need to go green.
They think they can make it now, Benny. They think they're in their window, so they're pretty confident that they can make it no matter whether it's green till then or caution flags till then.
All right, we got wheels coming up later, but no horsepower as we go out to the Tour de France. The final two stages of the Tour de France coming up Saturday and Sunday, today and tomorrow, here on ESPN. The best riders in the world take to the streets of France. Stage 20 today is 40 miles, and the final stage 21 Sunday is 99 miles. The Tour de France coming up later right here on ESPN. We'll be back with more exciting ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde MediaOne action from Michigan Speedway after 35 of 100 laps are complete. Back at Michigan Speedway here in Brooklyn, Michigan, our speed road coverage, live action of the MediaOne ARCA 200. 14th stop of the 22-race, $3 million ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series Tour. Our fourth caution flag today involving a dozen cars, and there's the cleanup ongoing there out of turn 2. One of the drivers involved, Mike Cicchetti, is standing by with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, Mike has climbed out of the Hughes supply car. What did you see from your vantage point out there on the racetrack?
I saw a car smoking in front of us, and it wasn't good. He let his oil, all the oil came out of the car once, and we just got into it. Just a tough break. It's one of those racing incidents. But, hey, I'm just glad to be here. As my crew chief says, you'll have that in motorsports, and I'd just like to thank Hughes Supply, the Ream team people from Ream Air Conditioning, Heating and Cooling, Bathcraft, Bath Style, and Moen Faucets. They've been real supportive of us and make this a reality for us. So also like to say hi to my wife and kids. They're home. Didn't get to come this trip.
Hey, real quick, you're okay. How's the car?
It really didn't get hurt that bad. The only really serious problem is that it pulled the upper A-frame bracket off of the front clip. So the only way we get back out is if we pull it back and weld it back on. And we're not running for any points per se other than the Speedway points. And so we're gonna try and fix it, but it doesn't look good. It looks terminal for right now. But I'm fine, and hopefully we'll be back next week.
Well, he's fine. That's the important part. But a couple of the drivers out there on the racetrack are fighting for points, and it appears they're done for the day also.
This guy getting some well-needed rest but during the caution flags here. Obviously, he's not an official of the ARCA Series. He's was here early this morning to get the PPG kart cars practiced and qualified for that event coming up tomorrow. Take a look here, folks. You think it hadn't been exciting? 26 laps under yellow and 12 under green. 26 of the 36 laps we've run thus far here at Michigan have been under the caution flag.
Everyone keeps saying that it's oil, that the 95 car counselor lost down there, but I'm just amazed that we're able to see through oil that way on the onboard camera on top of Mark Thompson's car. It sure looked like water, like he might have lost a water hose or something, but maybe it was oil.
Well, I'll tell you, these drivers are watching this track be cleaned up and prepared, but also some guys are very interested tomorrow about what's going to happen here. Our live coverage, flag to flag, comes your way tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC Sports, the US 500 from here at Michigan Speedway. US 500 live flag to flag action. Bob Barsha and Danny Sullivan to call the action along with Jack Arute and Gary Gerald. And tonight you can find out how they're going to start tomorrow as kart qualifying comes your way on ESPN2, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 Pacific. And tomorrow on the grid, we'll set the stage 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time for that US 500 presented by Toyota. Back with more ARCA action as the cleanup continues. Yes, some very heavily damaged cars. Unfortunately, all the drivers able to walk away. Back with more in a moment. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil.
Well, I'll tell you what the fact about this track is. You better have good gas mileage, and you got all kinds of tools to figure it out down here. But you got to have the right guy to do it. And for Tim Steele, that's Carl Goldnast. And you're working on your fuel mileage. You guys stopped early to make sure you could do this race on 2 stops. Tell me about your strategy.
Well, Michigan always is a gas mileage race, and we knew that we couldn't make it on 1 stop. So rather than do 2 green flag stops, we knew if we came in early, we'd have to make 1 stop, and so will everyone else. And typically, because Michigan has fewer yellows than any other racetrack, everyone else we hope and anticipate will come in on the green.
Well, Mark Thompson just came in under yellow. That was earlier than we had expected. Show us some of the equipment you're using here, Carl, to figure out your fuel mileage, and then, of course, the all-important clipboard.
Well, first of all, we're using a computer that has a Nova race strategy program that keeps track of the laps and also the fuel mileage. But basically, and first and foremost, is a clipboard and a calculator that allows me to double-check everything I do.
And you're pretty confident. Are you going to tell us how far you can go before you have to come back in?
Not on national television.
I didn't think you would. One other important thing is right back here behind us. That's where they weigh the fuel cans, so they know exactly how much fuel they put into Tim Steele's car. They're confident they can make this on 1 more stop. They'd like for it to come under yellow.
Now, what about the 66 car that just came in? What about Mark Thompson?
Yeah, they kept, look at there, we see him. And once again, he comes in, they go to the right side, and they kept talking about, see him put in some fuel in the car. They kept talking about making it on 1 stop.
Right side tires on. They finally get all the lug nuts on. They come around Bob Pissinger and the crew now working to the left side of Mark Thompson's car.
The car is full. Trying to just get that last drop in. Oh, wow. Now they're going to try 1 more time. Now they clean the windshield. Probably the main reason. He's got the valve is stuck. Probably the main reason he came in was to get the windshield clean. He decided probably the best thing to do was clean the windshield. Is that about right, Bill Weber?
Let's find out, Bob. That wasn't 50, but maybe my math was off. You came in a little early. Why?
Well, we wanted to clean the windshield up real good. It was a lot worse than he wanted to race with. So we pushed it as far as we could under caution. We're still in good shape. We believe we're with a real close window on the 16 car. And I believe the Midway Island Ford will be okay. We'll get 1 more stop late in the race, and we'll be good to go.
Could it come down now to tire strategy, Bob?
If it does, we'll be in good shape. Got a lot of good tire wear, so we'll be in good shape.
Okay, so you guys in the booth, right on the money. Mark couldn't see where he was going, so he came in to get his windshield cleaned.
Now, what Bob Bissinger talked about was one more stop late in the race. That's what happened to Mark Thompson last month, Benny, here in June. He pitted with about 15 laps to go to put on tires. No one else came down pit road. He was mired back in heavy traffic, and that cost him a chance at victory after he had dominated the race here most of the afternoon.
I thought Weber called me Bob there for a second until I saw that crew chief's name flash up on the screen. I thought he was talking to me.
Benny wouldn't do that, Bob. I mean, Benny. Let's go to Ray.
Well, guys, down here at the Infield Care Center, Dave Blaney just walked out. Bob Strait, Gary Layton, and Rick Shepard have all headed back to the garage area. Dave, the good question, I guess the big question, I mean to say, is are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Just a couple bruises here and there. It was a pretty good hit, a couple pretty good hits, but the car took the worst of it.
About lap 25, 4 or 5 guys went 4 wide on you there, and you backed off a little bit. Was there a problem with the car, or was that just you backing off and saying, let's get out of a bad situation?
No, I just got stuck. I had the lift coming out of turn 4 a little bit, and they all got a run on me, and I got stuck in the center of the racetrack. But, you know, we were fine. We were handling fine. We could run right with them in a line. I just feel bad for Stan Hoover and all those guys are out here trying to get me lap time, and, you know, they don't have a whole bunch of stuff. They don't have a bunch of equipment, and I'm about wrecking it. But, you know, we'll just come back, try again.
Well, guys, that was just a situation that he couldn't avoid. Definitely not Dave Blaney's fault.
Well, there's what's left of that Stan Hoover Ford that Dave Blaney was able to walk away from unscathed.
Wait a minute, Jerry, that's the good side.
Yeah.
I mean, that side is perfect.
There's
what's left of the back. There is no back. There is no back. It's missing. It's gone.
It was vacuumed up over in turn 2 by the Speedway crew.
Exactly.
Fortunately, Dave Blaney able to walk away, the 1995 World of Outlaws champion. We'll be getting underway with green flag racing action, we hope, very soon here at Michigan Speedway, just 8 laps away from the halfway point. We'll be right back. All right, get back here, Benny. Those burgers aren't for you. Our speed road coverage of the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series MediaOne 200 is being brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. By Daytona USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction. And by Firestone, America's tire since 1900. Mark Thompson just came down pit road a moment ago, Bill Weber, to top off.
And that's exactly right, Jerry. You know, 43 laps around the board. We've seen a lot of yellow flag laps here, which improves your fuel mileage. I don't think you could possibly go the distance, but I guarantee you that is being discussed down here by Mark Thompson's crew. Of course, Steele definitely cannot do that. I'm actually a little bit surprised that he didn't have to come in there, but we'll see what happens.
Well, 32 of the 43 laps that have been run so far have been under caution, so possibly a lot of calculating being done in the pits about making it the rest of the way. It would be awfully tough, I've got to believe, though, Benny, for any of these guys to make it.
Very, very, very difficult to make it. On 57 laps, 114 miles, yes, very difficult. Now, if we run the same amount of caution flags the second half as we run the first, they might be able to make it, but I doubt that is going to happen.
All right, there are 20 cars on the lead lap. As we approach the halfway point, safety car has the field on the 18-degree banks of turn 4. It will come down this time and make the hard left-hand turn down pit road. And Tim Steele, the defending and 2-time ARCA Series champion, will lead Jimmy Kitchens and a host of others. 27 cars still on the racetrack out of the 40 original starters back to the green flag.
What's up with this? Looks like not a lot of damage as he continues on his way, but the leader is on the backstretch.
Mark Thompson did not lose a lap, but lost a lot of valuable time. Tim Steele is actually in turn 3.
That's the second place battle there, Jimmy Kitchens. There's the leader, Tim Steele. He's already a football field in front of Jimmy Kitchens. And here comes Blaze Alexander. That black car is third spot.
Blaze makes a move underneath Kitchens in the trial. We'll hear down the front stretch, and Kitchens has the momentum up high in turn 1. some 18 car lengths. There's the battle for second spot. Kitchens in the 47, the former short track champion from Birmingham, Alabama. He lives in Hueytown, and now Blaze Alexander from Pennsylvania tries to get beneath Kitchens and can't quite make it stick.
Well, what happens when Blaze gets on the bottom of the racetrack here? He just loses his angle to get into the corner. I think Kitchens has a better angle to get him in the corner. He's used it to his advantage. 11 car, Morgan's car down on the inside.
Blaze Alexander, after a tough beginning in 1997, 4 top 5 finishes, including 3 runner-up spots, but yet to find his first win. Here's a third-place battle as Bobby Gerhardt makes a move.
That's a battle actually for 4th, and Gerhardt goes into 4th and puts Curtis back to 5th, and Rich Woodland now comes along. 86 car is Woodland. Alexander still wanting to get by Jimmy Kitchens, cannot. You know the crew chief on Jimmy Kitchens' car is today? Red Farmer.
I saw Red down in the garage area. He won't tell us how old he is, but I think the first car he set up was a Chariot.
And that's Ben Hurd, the driver, I think. There was Gerhardt, Rich Woodland. Gibson a moment ago. There he is, the back of that pack. 59 car, the blue and white car.
Remember on the restart, this guy right here, Mark Thompson, spun on the restart, was at least a half a lap behind. And he has a lot of ground to make up. Can he do what Tim Steele did early when he made that early pit stop and ran him down? I don't know.
Well, he's too far back. He's got to have a caution flag to have any hope of catching up as he goes by Drew White in the 98 car. And there's Josh Baldus, the 18, another car that was involved in that crash down in turns 1 and 2.
Now remember, Tim Steele did have help from a caution flag earlier that closed the field up and some pit stops to get him back up to the start in a hurry. So
exactly.
There's Tim Steele, our leader. 7-time winner here in 1997. Won here at Michigan last month. Won here a year ago. Back-to-back wins. Trying to become only the second driver in ARCA history to win 3 at Michigan Speedway. That will be timed Jeff Purvis mark. Purvis won 3 in a row in 93, 4, and 5.
Mark Gibson trying to go to the inside of Jimmy McCune.
You know, Mark Gibson finished second here back last month, but he had car number 59 we're talking about, folks, right side of your screen. And he did not have his race motor here for qualifying. That's why he qualified so poorly. They had to use the Pocono motor, but the new Elliott motor came in yesterday. They put it in for the race, and Mark said, I'm going to take my time, but we should be a factor.
The field is taking the signal halfway, so they have run 100 miles.
Michigan Speedway. Jeff Purvis we talked about with those 3 consecutive wins in 3, 4, and 5. Down to 3, 4, and 5. Tim Steele back-to-back wins. Take a look at some others. Ron Barfield, Bob Keselowski now drives in the Craftsman Truck Series. Tracy Leslie now in the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series. Joe Ruttman in the Truck Series. Tim Steele hoping to be able to tie Purvis. Consecutive wins here in Michigan. See that 47 car left side of your screen? They have Robert Yates engines in that car, Benny. They had an engine problem yesterday, and the only engine they had in the backup was in their show car in downtown Detroit. They drove to Detroit, took the engine out of the show car, backed it out of the mall, took the engine out, and put it in this car here, which is running second today.
That's not bad. You see Kenny Martin currently in 4th spot. Out of Cleveland, Ohio. His brother Angelo in the excavating business in Cleveland.
Robert for Bob Shack, who has 18 career wins, a long-time ARCA competitor. Now Shack maintaining this car in his Chapin, South Carolina shop.
Bobby Gerhardt, the Truck World car. He is in 5th spot.
Gerhardt coming off back-to-back 5th place finishes. And where is he running right now? 5th.
And started 5th.
night up at IRP. 24 feature wins for McCune. Now being shown in 6th position, and right behind him, the veteran and former Rookie of the Year, 1986 in ARCA competition, Mark Gibson, in the car number 59. And the 6th and 7th you're watching on the screen.
To Gibson. I guess that's telling him to go by. Evidently, when Gibson gets behind the 88 car, it loosens up. It takes the air off the rear spoiler and gets the car too loose for McCune.
And now Kitchens on pit road. The second place car has moved down the pit road just past the halfway point, and there the crew now working up pit road on the right side tires on the car number 47. Let's go down to Bill Weber.
And they've made a chassis adjustment on the right rear. They put on the right side tires. Looks like it's only going to be a 2-tire stop for Jimmy. The fuel is in. They're cleaning the grill, waiting to get as much fuel as possible in. 55 left to go on the board. They signal it's full, and away goes Jimmy Kitchens. His pit stop, 2 right side tires and fuel.
Got to be careful. 65 miles an hour, the speed on pit road. He's very, very ginger leaving the pits.
Why in the world would he not pit on the caution flag and pit on the green flag?
Kitchens will have to go 45 laps. He should be able to make it, but my goodness, if he could pit it a couple laps ago under the caution. Now we'll wait and see what their strategy plays out and how it works. Here is Tim Steele, the HS Dodge. Sim went forward, and here is the caution flag.
Yellow.
See, Kitchens is now a lap down.
Boy, that is a killer for Jimmy Kitchens, who was running second and just pitted a moment ago, and now the caution comes out for the 5th time today here at Michigan Speedway. There is Jimmy Kitchens, the young man from Hewington, Alabama, who just made that pit stop at the Dunlop Golf Ford Thunderbird.
Boy, oh boy, you hate to see that when a team runs as well as the 47 car has been running. They should be able to make it the rest of the way. We're on lap 56, so all the cars should be able to make it from here. So I would expect that Tim Steele will be pitting.
Tim Steele told me, based on their fuel mileage checks yesterday, that they were really close between 42 and 44 laps is all they could go. Now, maybe their fuel mileage has gotten a little better here in the early going, but with so many caution laps, how do you calculate that? We are 44 laps away from the conclusion. Does he risk it to come in now, or does he ride for a lap or so under caution and wait to come in?
It'll be 43 once he comes by and comes down pit road. There'll be 43 laps to go, and they're going to run a couple more laps under the caution flag. So if he can run 42 laps on the green, I would say they'll pit this lap.
All right, Steele is down low on the inside of the racetrack as the safety car looks like he is going to come down pit road. Behind him, Blaze Alexander, last year's Rookie of the Year, will come on as well.
Kenny Martin follows. Bobby Gearhart comes down pit road.
65 miles an hour, what could be the final pit stop of the day. Nose to tail, there is Steele and Blaze Alexander coming down. One car pulls out. Now Steele will have to get into his pits. Alexander already there. And here is Tim Steele making his last stop. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, Blaze Alexander has the Lisa Express car in here. They were hoping to go another 7 or 8 laps before the pit, but since the yellow came out, they're going to go with 4 tires. Tim Steele has the right sides on. One of his crew members just fell down. They've got gasoline coming out all over the place. It'll be a 4-tire stop for Steele. Now to Bill Weber.
And they've got those left side tires on for Steele, and he's down and away quickly. Fuel's in, and he should be able to make it easily from here. Now Blaze Alexander is away, back out on the track.
Bobby Gearhart was able to come out of the pits in second spot of the cars that made that pitted on that lap. Gearhart beat Blaze Alexander out of the pits.
No problem for Steve Lane and the guys there in the Lisa Express machine of Blaze Alexander. He is Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Here is Mark Thompson.
And he had to come back in the pits because now he can make it the rest of the way. This was a break for Thompson. Remember, he was about half lap down, so a huge break for Mark Thompson.
All right, still working the 5th caution flag today. We should have a shootout for the second half of this one. Back with more live ARCA action of Michigan in a moment. Back at Michigan Speedway here, working the 5th caution flag of the afternoon. Came out on lap 56 as we are now working lap 58. In the MediaOne 200 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series.
Go see Bobby Gearhart, the truck world car, and came to the racetrack. Drew came to the racetrack. His transport driver, Butch Ort, comes to the track. He gets here and finds out that his father has passed away, Marlon. So Butch had to go back home to Pennsylvania, and Butch, all the guys wanted to let you know they're here today, but they're thinking about you at home.
They dedicated this race to Marlon Ort's memory. And the leader is coming on the pit road. Here is Mark Gibson, what should be his final stop as they come down pit road. There's Hank Wetzel saying 1 to go next time, and they're going to change right side tires on Mark Gibson's car and make a chassis adjustment. We'll come back with green flag racing from Michigan Speedway in just a moment. Back in perfect timing, green flag waves once again, the car number 11. That is Glenn Morgan, the personal injury attorney from Beaumont, Texas, leading him down into turn 1. Restart lap 60, 40 laps to go.
Second place, Dan, out of Daytona Beach, Florida, and here comes Tim Steele. Partis driving for, and Partis coming back on the outside of Steele. Driving for Jim and Judy Gardner. Now Steele goes down, trying to get by Partis. Looks like Kenny Martin on the outside, or behind them. This is the 75 car is Kenny Martin.
There's Martin right behind Partis now. That would be for position. Well, we talked about the car number 47 who made that pit stop and had some bad luck after the caution came out, subsequently in costing a lap on the racetrack. Ray, why did they decide to pit?
Well, Doc, if you remember the race back here in June, Jimmy Kitchens ran out of fuel coming off of turn 2, and he coasted down the back straightaway. Had a really good car then, but they're just a little bit antsy now. They're afraid that they might have run out of fuel, so they decided to pit under green. That really hurt them. Then that next caution came out, but they've told me they wouldn't have made it through the caution flag anyway, so it really didn't matter.
All right, that's the reason that they decided to make that pit stop, so Jimmy Kitchens had to because of the fuel concerns.
Blaze Alexander goes by Kenny Martin, tries to catch up, and Morgan is still leading Tim Steele. Here comes Steele off the corner, takes a look on the inside of Morgan. And once again, Morgan accelerates down the straightaway.
Well, the car number 11 picked up a sponsor for this race. That's Texas Marine, and that's really, it's a boat sales company out of nearby Beaumont. Glenn Morgan, who had his best run in only his second start this year, finished 7th last month here in June. 12 cars are being shown on the lead lap.
Don't you know Glenn Morgan is just beside himself? I'm leading Tim Steele. And now we see the 66 car. Mark Thompson, the 5th car in line, is working his way toward the front.
Now, Benny, as you see Hank Wetzel giving Morgan the move-over flag, we are being told the 11th car, the yellow car, is on the tail end of the lead lap. He looks very, very strong, and actually Tim Steele is the leader, but Glenn Morgan was hanging on and trying to run with Steele. In fact, he's still staying in front of Steele.
And Blaze Alexander trying to get by Dan Partis. They're side by side down the backstretch. Meanwhile, here comes Mark Thompson, the 66 car.
That is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and now Alexander, the 26, takes 2nd. Partis is 3rd, and you're riding along on the roof cam of the Midway Islands Ford of Mark Thompson in 4th position.
And we see Tim Steele has been able to get by Glenn Morgan. Put him a lap down.
You wonder what Midway Island is. That's an eco-preserve that Mark Thompson and others are involved with. That is actually Midway Island that was the military base out in the Pacific, and I'm told as he goes to the high side of Partis that they got up at 5:30 this morning out of Midway Island to go down to the pavilion to watch this race live here from Michigan Speedway. Our AutoZone race recap, our leader is Tim Steele, has led 34 laps. There have been 7 lead changes, 5 cautions for a total of 37 laps. There have been 23 green laps run.
Mark Thunderbird bipartite. He dives down to the inside of the racetrack. He's in front now, but his ankle is hurt getting down the corner. Is he going to put the slide job on him? Yes, he is. Gerhardt trying to get by Kenny Martin. I guess that's backwards. I guess Martin's going by Gerhardt. And Martin comes off the corner a little bit high and lets Gerhardt close back up on him.
Bobby Gerhardt, those back-to-back top fives. He will take the position back away from Kenny Martin in the car number 75.
This time Martin makes the corner okay.
Bobby Gerhardt, 1988 Rookie of the Year, driving the car number 85. Truckwell-sponsored Chevrolet.
Look at Kenny Martin go through the corner. Go down on the inside.
Car number 75, Kenny Martin. Many in 5 starts this year. Get a listen to his finishes. He had 11th at Atlanta, 10th at Charlotte, 9th at Charlotte, and 8th at Pocono. He's gaining on it.
He is gaining on it. Boy, Kenny.
Kenny Martin, who started out in go-karts, Legends cars, his first year in ARCA competition. Talking about the driver of the car number 75 on the right side of your screen.
There's the second place car, Blaze Alexander. The Sunoco sponsored Automobile Racing Express. And the Midway Island car, Mark Thompson, 66. That's second and third. This is the third place car we're riding with. There's the leader. The red car is Tim Steele. Morgan's still hanging in there.
Got to wonder if Steele was just going as fast as he has to go. Could he push the button, or is he just riding, trying to take care of his equipment?
He is riding. I think he's probably got 2 or 3 tenths of a second in his pocket if he needs it.
Well, Tim Steele is our leader. If you wonder what happened to our co-point leader, Frank Kimmel called it today on lap 23 with a blown engine. Back with more from Michigan in just a moment. Back at Michigan Speedway, less than 30 laps remaining in the MediaOne 200 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series event. And we speculated, could Mark Thompson's car number 66 make it back to the front? Well, he had help from a caution flag as well, Benny, but he is back up there.
He's back there, but you're right. The caution flag was the decided factor that allowed him to catch up. As he tries to go by Blaze Alexander for second spot. Had a great run on turn 4. They slide down the corner. And he will take over second spot. Now, can he catch that red car directly in front of him? Is Tim Steele just loping, or does he really have some problems?
This battle back here heating up a couple of veterans. Mark Gibson in the 59 as they are battling for
Like 4th spot.
4th position. Gibson in the 59 and Bobby Gerhardt in the 85. 2 former rookies of the year in ARCA competition.
Once he was able to get by the Blaze Alexander car, he's closing right in on the back of the 16 car. Weber, does 16 have a problem, or is Mark Thompson that fast?
16 is a little tight right now. Tim Steele's complaining his car is just a little bit tight, but his crew chief, Chad Cummings, told me that they figure as the fuel burns off, the car will handle better in the closing laps. Ray.
Well, Bill, down here in the 66 pits, they say they're catching Tim Steele by about 4/10 of a lap. So that should be about 7 laps from now, and they should be able to pass it.
I remember last month it was Mark Thompson that was the role reversal. Mark Thompson had led the early part of the race in the car 66, and it was Tim Steele who caught him late and made the pass for the win. Thompson would like to repay the favor and possibly run Steele down here in these final 25 laps and possibly steal a victory here in Tim Steele's home state.
Let's then go by the yellow car was Billy Venturini, Bill's son. Simonized car. And Thompson just a few car lengths behind. The problem with stock car racing today, Jerry, catching is one thing, passing is another thing, because now, as Thompson pulls up on the back bumper of Tim Steele, all of a sudden the air that was going on all over his car, on the front of the car, the rear of his car, he's losing that air on the front of the car. So he loses downforce on the front of that 66 car. When he does that, as he comes off the corner, it wants to push. The car wants to push towards the wall and has trouble turning the car. And you're not able to get back on the accelerator the way you were when you were running by yourself. Catching is one thing, and he just he almost ran in the back of Tim Steele.
Boy, Steele had backed out apparently going in the corner, and Thompson nearly ran all over him. You saw the view that Mark Thompson had from that midway outlet roof camera on top of his Ford. Difference Thompson having to back out of it and probably jump in the brakes to keep from running into the back of Steele. Lost about 6 or 7 car lengths.
Exactly right. While he was hitting the brakes trying to keep from running in the back of Tim Steele, that's about the same time that Tim Steele hit the accelerator. Big difference. Now this thing, we're back to the same spot that Steele slowed so dramatically the last time. This time looks like he was able to keep his momentum through the corner.
Watching our first 2 cars, Tim Steele, our leader, from the roof cam of Mark Thompson in 2nd spot. Blaze Alexander is 3rd. Mark Gibson 4th. Bobby Gerhardt is 5th. Danny Pardus, great run for Pardus in 6th spot. Jimmy McCune, the midget driver, in 7th position. Rich Linden is 8th. Ed Curtis 9th. And Matt Hunter, Ron Hunter's son, is 10th, driving for James Finch.
Hunter did have some damage. Big crash down in turn 1.
I mentioned earlier, if you're looking for Frank Kimmel, who was the co-point leader coming into this event, Kimmel had engine trouble all weekend, followed the engine going away at lap 23. He's had to call it a day.
And here comes Thompson. He's looking on the inside. He's got to run. This is for the lead. Mark Thompson on the right of your screen. Tim Steele on the left. And it's Thompson to the front.
And they were cheering on pit road, and I'll bet you at the Pavilion Lounge in Midway Island, where it's about 5:45 in the morning, or shortly after 6 a.m. in the morning out there, they are also cheering for Mark Thompson.
Never seen this 47 car of Jimmy Kitchens as he goes by the 42 and 75. He's a fast car right now, but he's a lap down to the 42 and the 75. 42 is Pardus, 75 Kenny Martin.
They are battling for position. Danny Pardus, after 5 years in the NASCAR Goodies Dash Series, rookie in ARCA competition. Driving the car number 42 for Jim and Judy Gardner, as you mentioned. Qualified 5th at West Virginia, but Parkersburg on the dirt. His best qualifying in ARCA thus far. His best finish at 8th in Atlanta early in the year. Finished 9th in Daytona.
Meanwhile, Mark Thompson is pulling away from Tim Steele. They did put Matt Hunter, the 10th place car, a lap down a lap or so ago, but Thompson going away.
Gotta wonder if there's something more wrong with the 16 car other than the fact that it is just very, very tight. Well, there'll be 20 laps to go when they come back. Mark Thompson, our leader, Steele, Alexander, Gibson, and Gerhardt rounding out the top 5. Back at Michigan Speedway, lots of racing action to come your way from right here tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Kart qualifying, pole qualifying for the Kart PPG World Series. And tomorrow on the grid at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, they will set the stage for exciting action. U.S. 500 styles. The PPG Kart World Series cars go at it at over 230 miles an hour from the ultra-competitive 2-mile Michigan Speedway, live on ABC Sports tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Bob Barshall will be on hand along with Danny Sullivan, Jack Arute, and Gary Gerald to bring you the lap-by-lap action.
Talking things over. Meanwhile, Mark Thompson's guys, they're just flexing their muscles to show you do all that high-five stuff. There's 3rd place, Blaze Alexander on your left-hand side. Mark Thompson on your right.
Mark Gibson on the right.
Mark Gibson, I said Thompson, that is Gibson. Mark Thompson is the leader of the race.
Got a couple of marks in the top 5. So let's go down to Bill Weber and find out what's happening in the Tim Steele pits.
Well, Jared, we talked about how the 16 car was tight, and they thought as Tim burned off fuel that problem would go away. But it hasn't. In fact, the sun has come out here at Michigan, and the problem has gotten worse. Tim is really battling a very tight race car right now. Other than that, his crew asked him what else is wrong with the car. He simply wanted to know how many laps were left in the race.
Well, the answer to that is 16.
Now, when a driver starts counting laps, you know that he's not real happy with the race car.
There we see Steele going by Ed Curtis, the green and white car.
The ARCA lap leaders here in Michigan, the all-time leader, Tim Steele, Jeff Purvis, who won 3 here back in the early 90s, Joe Rudman, who won the first one back in 1980, Mark Thompson, and Bob Keselowski. Now for third spot, you were talking about Benny.
Gibson took a look on the inside of Blaze Alexander going down in turn 1, was not able to get by.
Gibson's car number 59 there. He has it's called CSG Racing. His teammate is Briggs Cunningham and Kerry Shearer along with Mark Gibson.
And Gibson once again takes a look.
As you watch this battle, here's a car slowing. That is Drew White's Colony Racing Pontiac slowing on the apron in the backstretch. He may be able to make it back as we have just 14 laps remaining.
They're going by Billy Venturini. Now neither of the cars able to use him to their advantage. Blaze Alexander might have. Looks like he gained a couple of car lengths.
All right, let's check in on Mark Thompson's situation with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, down here in the Phoenix pit, they're very happy. Mark Thompson's radioed. He said the car is just right, but they pulled a set of sticker tires into the pit, and they've made a slight air pressure adjustment in case there's a real short run. I can't tell you what that air pressure adjustment is because Tim Steele's got the satellite dish on, and they're watching.
All right, trying to eavesdrop on some pit strategy. Whatever they did down in Mark Thompson's pit, it has certainly worked. That car has just taken off. There is Thompson, left side of your screen. There's the guy who's chasing him.
At the very top of the show, we kept asking, was there anyone here that can beat Tim Steele? It's like Mark Thompson stepped up and said, yes, I can. He certainly has a great chance now with just a few laps remaining.
All right, we'll take a break, and we'll find out in these final 10 or 12 laps if indeed Tim Steele can come back, or will Mark Thompson be the winner today at Michigan? Back in a moment. We welcome you back to Michigan Speedway. Benny Parsons along with Bill Weber, Ray Dunlap, and yours truly, Jerry Punch, bringing you the 40 laps of the MediaOne 200 ARCA Supercar Series event. And what was a close battle for third position now is stretched out somewhat by Mark Gibson.
Well, because Blaze Alexander had third spot, Mark Gibson passed him. The 59 cars taking over that spot. And as you said, Jerry, is pulled away by a few car lengths. It's still Mark Thompson, the leader. There he is. Going down in turn 1, completing another lap. Tim Steele is in second, but he is not gaining.
Everyone was wondering if there was a chink somewhere in Tim Steele's armor. He's been almost unbeatable here in 1997. 7 victories and 13 starts. He still goes by, including back-to-back wins this year and last at this Michigan Speedway. But today, a tight race car may be his undoing.
Well, the Brickyard 400 may be, as I talked about earlier on, the Brickyard 400 might be his undoing. It may be that they spent so much time getting ready to go down to the Brickyard next week that they were not able to get this car 100%. There he goes by Jimmy McCune. Thompson does, puts him a lap down.
Well, here's the 59 car, Benny. I'm going to wonder, Mark Gibson is coming on a tear. The Ernie Elliott engine they put in yesterday is really performing here in the late laps. He's trying to close in on the second-place car of Tim Steele.
And he could very well do that.
All the way back in 14th starting position, they qualified with their Pocono engine a week ago in the car. They got their race motor on Friday morning, put it in.
Right now, Tim Steele, as we're watching this, Tim Steele got a tough break. He caught Jimmy McCune going in turn 3, and his car not handling well enough that cost Tim Steele probably about a second.
Seven laps to go here at Michigan Speedway as we are within the last few laps. Mark Thompson, his only career win came early this year in May at Charlotte Motor Speedway. His only ARCA victory. Although he had won 3 consecutive poles at Michigan Speedway, and now you see the distance there at the red car. That's Tim Steele. Right above him, top of your screen, is Mark Gibson now coming in. That is Gibson behind the 88 car. Gibson is the next car in line, and he's close to maybe about a second and a half, 2 seconds.
Let's see, he has driven away. Mark Gibson has driven away from Blaze Alexander. And there we see, all out in the front straightaway. The leader, Mark Thompson, goes by. 66 car.
There are 7 cars on the lead lap, and by the way, the interval last time by between Gibson and Steele was 2.8 seconds.
And Blaze Alexander is on pit road. Maybe he's out of fuel, I don't know. Because he's acting like he's out of fuel. They stop. He goes by the gas man. Putting gas in it.
What a tough break from Blaze Alexander was being shown in the 5th position, but only 7 cars on the lead lap as he comes back out. 5 laps to go here at Michigan Speedway.
There goes Mark Thompson down in turn 1.
Interval continuing to shrink between 2nd and 3rd place. It had gotten down to 2.6 seconds, and just a moment ago, Gibson got caught in some heavy traffic and lost a half a second.
Traffic can be the determining factor. There we see. Now Tim Steele is clear of all this traffic, and Gibson has to go by them. Now, where he catches him will determine probably if he's got a chance of catching Tim Steele.
Red car, left side of your screen, that is Steele. And the right side of your screen, going high, the 59 is Mark Gibson. That is 2nd and 3rd. The interval is 3.02 seconds with 4 laps to go. And that time by, we checked the interval once again. It is now down to 2.8 seconds.
Gibson that time called the Hall car, the 51 car, Frog Hall started a fast spot going in turn 1. That probably cost him some time as we see Mark Thompson going in turn 3, trying to complete 1 more lap.
And Benny, when he comes by this time, it'll be just 3 laps remaining here in the MediaOne 200.
And Danny Pardis coming down pit road, car running in 5th spot. He's coming down pit road out of fuel. And they have to push the car back. He's over the yellow line, got to push it back. They do. Put the gas can in.
And they finally try to get the car fired. The car will not fire, and Pardis' crew now pushing it. Here's a car slowing in the backstretch, the 06. That is David Green, Ann Arbor, Michigan driver in a Pontiac. There goes Steele by, and the interval between Steele and Gibson is down to less than 2.5 seconds, but there's the guy they're chasing, Mark Thompson.
2 laps to go for Mark Thompson. There we see Tim Steele on the bottom of the racetrack.
1.3 second separation, and Gibson is closing in a hurry on the 2nd place car of Tim Steele. Steele left side of your screen. Now there is no traffic between Steele and Gibson, 2nd and 3rd place cars.
Looks like something has happened to Steele's car. He lost it's huge. It looks like something has happened. I think he's lost a cylinder. Something has happened to the engine of the 16 car.
And Steele just said in the radio, I think the engine is sounding funny. Something sounds funny in engine, Benny. You've got to be a soothsayer. Apparently a cylinder may be going away in Steele's car, and now he will lose not only a cylinder, but 2nd position. As Hank Wetzel, the ARCA flagman, waves the white flag, the final lap here at Michigan Speedway.
Mark Gibson kept the pressure up and has moved into 2nd spot. Now the question, can Tim Steele salvage a 3rd spot? There comes our leader, Mark Thompson. A half lap to go. 1 more mile. He will have won the MediaOne 200.
Mark Thompson promised all the guys that work for him out at Midway Island if they'd get up early and go out to the Beach Pavilion Bar and watch the race that he would try to pull off a victory. And indeed, those that got up at 5:30 in the morning out in the Pacific have been rewarded because Mark Thompson is the winner.
And Tim Steele will salvage that 3rd spot.
Mark Gibson finishes 2nd. Tim Steele comes home in 3rd. And there is Mark Thompson, winner of the MediaOne ARCA 200 here at Michigan Speedway. Let's go down to Ray.
And I tell you what, the Midway Island Ford run great. Joe Ryan built one super motor, awesome gas mileage. He said it just blew when it come off. I think we leaned it up too much, and we just blew coming for the checker.
Hey, evidently winning the pole here is not such a great position for you guys. Maybe you ought to start back in the pack from now on.
Mark said after he qualified, he said, this is the omen, boys. This is our race.
These guys are awful happy down here. A great win for Mark Thompson and all the crew.
I used to give credit to someone else, but Joe Ryan out of Chicago does build engines in the 66 car, has most of the year, and does a super job.
Well, an outstanding job, and what luck. When it's your day, Benny, it's your day. Mark Thompson's engine coming apart, and now he will coast back and hope to make it back to Victory Lane, where we will talk with the winner of the MediaOne 200 from Victory Lane here at Michigan Speedway in just a moment. Our speed road coverage of the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series MediaOne 200 from Michigan Speedway has been brought to you by MediaOne. This is how your home will be connected to the future. MediaOne, this is broadband, this is the way. By the more than 1,625 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Quaker State, the quality your car deserves. Let's go down to Bill Weber.
And Mark Thompson is here in Victory Lane, putting on the hat, taking off his tape that held the earplugs in so we could hear his crew. The victory cigar is ready, and Mark Thompson is number one in the MediaOne 200. His second career win and his second victory of the season. And Mark Thompson, congratulations, an eventful afternoon for you.
I'll tell you what, eventful. I had about everything we could have happen. I got to tell you, Joe Ryan just builds an absolute bulletproof motor, because I shifted from second to first instead of third. Must have run it to 11,000 RPM, and it ran to the last corner. That and flat spot and some tires and everything else, it was quite an evening.
Is that what precipitated your spin down there?
Yeah, you know, it was a rookie mistake.
You're no rookie.
Yeah, I'm no rookie. I shouldn't be doing that, but maybe it got me mad enough to press it pretty hard.
And you coasted across the finish line.
I did. I'm not sure right now whether it ran out of gas or whether it blew the motor, but on the exit of 4, it was like you threw the switch off. It just quit dead.
You're always a very quiet guy, but this morning you had an air of confidence to you, Mark. You love this track. You thought maybe today could be your day.
Well, the last time I was up here, you told me it was bad luck to be on the pole. Nobody had ever won from the pole, so because we weren't on the pole, I felt maybe it was time we could win.
Now, do you know some guys that got up pretty early in the morning to watch this race? Did you make a deal with some people at Midway this morning?
Yeah, I promised everybody on Midway that if they get up at 5:30 in the morning, go down to the Pavilion Bar and watch this race, we'd win it for them. Hey, Mike, I didn't make a liar out of me, did I?
Are you buying the round now?
I'll buy the round at the Pavilion tonight. One round.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
That's Mark Thompson in Victory Lane here at Michigan.
All right, Mark Thompson.
Was his son and daughter happy or what? That's Mark's son and daughter?
What a special day. You know, it took him 52 races to get his first win in ARCA competition. It only took him 10 to get win number 2, both of them coming here in the 1997 season. And he even admits to a rookie mistake. He was so excited on the restart, he said, I shifted from third gear back to first. No wonder he spun it out.
And no wonder, I mean, how in the world, no wonder the engine blew up. My question is, how in the world did it last that long? Because he's right. He had to turn it maybe 11, 12,000 RPM, going from second to first.
All right, Mark Thompson is our winner. All right, tonight coming up, kart racing qualifying, PPG Kart World Series, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow on the grid, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll set the stage for exciting action for the World Series of PPG Kart Racing. And then our live flag-to-flag coverage on ABC Sports. Bob Barsha, Danny Sullivan will be up to call the action. The US 500 from right here at the ultra-competitive 2-mile Super Speedway, Michigan Speedway. Exciting exciting action. Qualifying coming up later. You'll be able to see the exciting qualifying session was exciting here today at Michigan for the kart series. And, of course, an exciting day for the ARCA competitors, the MediaOne 200. And what a great day for MediaOne. We got an opportunity last night to visit with Chuck Lillis, who's the president and CEO of U.S. West Media, the parent company of MediaOne. They're excited about their involvement in motorsports and their partnership with ESPN to be a part of this show today.
And the stuff they talked about last night, the broadband and what have you, it sounds awfully exciting. I'm not the computer freak like most people, but if you are, you want to check into the MediaOne.
Let's check in with Ray Dunlap.
Mark, you're not too hot from racing out there, are you?
Tell you what, I run hard those last few laps. We had to come in and get gas with one to go on that last caution. That put us behind all those slow cars. And it's just a job to get by them, you know, trying to take my time and not screw up passing anybody. And just wore me out trying to run them down. I was catching them, you know. They told me I was quicker than the leaders, and I could make it, and everybody else was real close. And we didn't know, you know. So I want to thank Briggs Cunningham, Kerry Scherer, everybody. You know, Tim's guys helped me out on shocks and stuff. I really got to thank the shock guy. He dynoed a couple shocks this morning and helped us out. We couldn't outrun him, but I mean, we had a good third or second place car, you know, if everything would have went up. But,
let me ask you something. How does it feel to see the 16 going in your rearview mirror?
Pretty good, but I'd like to outrun him straight up. You know, I'd like to outrun Tim when he's running good on all 8 cylinders, not on 7, not on 6. You know, it's gratifying, the points and everything, but you know, we need to outrun Tim when he's as good as we are. But we'll take it, and you know, Cunningham Motorsports Ford ran real well, and I just want to thank everybody. You know, Billy Newman and them put the body on this car, and what a job they did. It was great. And Ernie Ellie, the motors again, put the motor in yesterday morning, and it was really good. So
good run there, Tim. You lost a cylinder there real quick, but it was a good run.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad run. You know, lost cylinder, and then the 66 car got by me, and then, you know, 1 or 2 to go. Then we lost 1 or 2 more, you know, and it was barely run at the end. But, you know, Ernie built a really good motor. We won with it last weekend, and, you know, it's going to be borderline on miles.
Keep clicking off those top 5s. It's still pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I think we got the point lead by pretty good, you know, with Frank falling out. It's too bad for Frank, but, you know, it's good for us.
Well, we'll see you next week, buddy. Good luck at the Brickyard.
Thank you.
Okay, Tim Steele.
Already holds on to the point lead today. Of course, Mark Thompson, our winner of the MediaOne Michigan 200. For Benny Parsons, Jerry Punch, Bill Weber, and Ray Dunlap, we congratulate Mark Thompson. There's the top 10. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.